Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 128 of Shadow and Flame with Magic, the podcast. And today we're going to review Immortal X-Men issue 12. So let's get to it. All right. So the recap for this comic came out in August. Oh, I got to take off my glasses because old dad can't read comics with glasses on. Which I've been trying to read all the free comic book day, and I'm trying to like rank them for like a future project, but almost every new one I read, I'm like, oh, this is on the top, like half of them. So I don't know. It was a pretty outstanding collection, but right now now I gotta walk over to it. Right now, my favorite thus far has been "Dying Inside" by Fall Out Boy's Pete Wentz, which I'm not thrilled by that result, but I also get it because it was pretty legit, and I might actually buy me that trade, which is I think the ultimate proof of a successful free comic book day. Um, but this is issue 12 of Immortal X-Men. Came out in August 2023. Still Yourself, which is just a fun recap page. The Quiet Council is reeling with the knowledge of an alternate timeline in which when this machinations Sinister has been implementing across Krakoa since its conception, including corrupting the resurrection process with his own DNA, were allowed to play out. While steps have been taken to prevent this timeline coming to pass, some of those wills are already in motion, including the compromising of several of the Council's recently resurrected members, Xavier, Hope, Exodus, and Emma Frost, so that's four. Forge has spearheaded efforts to remove the hidden sinister DNA in these Council members, and in the resurrection process as a whole, but only time will tell if his efforts were successful. Until we know for sure, the Tainted Four have had their voting rights on the Council stripped. Unfortunately, the Council's better angels grow weaker still. Nightcrawler has taken leave of Krakoa, granting power of his vote to Storm. She has granted control of her vote when she is absent to Colossus. Colossus, meanwhile, is himself controlled by a powerful mutant writer enslaved by his brother, Mikhail Rasputin. And one of the best things about Immortal X-Men before the Hellfire Gala was 2023 was that this book was full of political intrigue um and then afterwards I guess became a survival story. But and the council currently is Autumn, Professor X, Hope Summers, Destiny, Summer, Nightcrawler, Storm, Colossus. And Colossus and each issue was a highlighted member of the Quiet Council, and so this is the Colossus issue. Spring, Emma Frost, Sebastian Shaw, Kate Pride, who we love, Winter, Exodus, question mark, and Mystique. But don't worry about that question mark. We're going to fill that position soon. And this is part 12, The Idiot. Writer Kieran Gillian, artist Lucas Wernick, color artist David Correll, letterer VC's Clayton Cowles, design Tom Muir and Jay Bowen. I got the Mark Brooks cover where it's Colossus attacking Kate Pride, and it is gorgeous. I mean, I sort of miss Mark Brooks' old school style, but I mean, good for him for finding a style that gets him to be a cover king. VC Clayton Cowles production, Lauren Amaro, associate editor, Jordan D. White, editor, CB Sabowski, editor in chief. Um, X-Men created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Chapter 12, The Idiot. The night before, Piotr met with Shaw. He brought vodka. Shaw drank, and this would be easier if Piotr was drunk too. It would not be his choice to socialize with such a man. Nothing was Piotr Rasputin's choice anymore. And honestly, it's a shame Colossus and Gambit are so popular because of those two characters. If they just quietly retired during the Krakoan era, where Gambit became a wife guy and Colossus just found a nice cliff and painted all day, like they would have just had a better Krakoan era. But unfortunately, they are very popular X-Men, and so the stories and pages have to be given to them. And Colossus did not benefit from being on Krakoa. His wife has been written by a scrivener in a Russian cell. He had betrayed all his friends already. He would betray them all again. Between shots, Shaw and Piotr made a deal, and both would get what they wanted. I have to say, Peter, I'm surprised and impressed, says Shaw. Of course he is, thought Piotr. Shaw barely knew him, and even he knows this isn't like him. This is Piotr's hope, even as he draws the dagger forth, that someone will see how unlike himself he is acting. The plan was finalized. Shaw had learned that Storm will be absent tomorrow. Come to me, Shaw will ask for a closed session, removing the possibility of compromise Hope, Xavier, Emma, and Exodus from the room. And then he would commence. And so the issue opens up with Kate being like, okay, Shaw, what's on your mind? It better not be some kind of political game. And then Shaw wants to fill Sinister's seat because it's been empty too long. And we get this amazing page of Kate being like, oh, so this is a political game. Come on, Shaw, at least try. Get everyone back in. And Shaw poses for a vote for selection of a new council member. And Rasputin, um, because I don't want to get twisted because Rasputin the Fourth does show up. And Kalash is quick to agree. And Kate's like, Pete. And so, up for vote is Celine, because she tried to get a seat earlier, and Hope wanted to represent the five, and so was granted a seat, and Celine was not happy about it. And because she lost that seat, Hope shot her in the head, well, supposedly killing Celine, but Celine cannot be killed by a redhead teenager shooting her from a trick shot. And Kate's like, Pete, for Berberer Shake, what are you doing? He smiles inside. There you go, my old love, he thinks. You know me. See, this is wrong. See, this is wrong before I destroy you all. There's a page ad here for Avengers 1 that I believe is the Jed McKay one that people are loving to this day. I like the two Fall of X issues. And Storm's about to join the team, so that's, it's impressive that, 1 year later, or close to a year later, that the comic's still on sale because it's hard to get to issue 12, y'all. And Kate says, you were dead, and now I'm alive! Peter didn't know how Celine had returned or why Shaw wanted her on the council. He didn't even know why Shaw came to Piotr with the proposition. Those whose pen guided him were as confused as he, but they thought the reward worth the risk. And then Shaw vouches for her leadership skills. Destiny votes no. And Shaw's like, why vote no? We have the votes. Let's be on the right side of this. And Destiny says, Orcus, like Shaw's working for Orcus. Piotr frowns. This would explain much. Piotr is a pawn of his brother in Russia, whose piece is Shaw. And Shaw's like, if only we had telepaths. And then Rasputin the Fourth comes in and says that she will read his mind. And Shaw's like, well, if you tamper with my mind, I'm going to be able to tell that you've wandered off course. And she's like, I'm stronger than you telepathically, and I can wander off course if I want, but I have no interest. And Shaw looks exhausted. But Rasputin the Fourth does explain that Shaw is not working for Orcus, or at least blocking all thoughts of it, because he will soon be working for Orcus. Which I do like the point where he's like, because you think I do, like, what? How do you know this doesn't make me think I should be working for Orcus? And he's like, oh, Destiny. Sometimes she plays games and games and games, and it's too much. Perhaps the Black King remains a king and not a piece. In some ways, it would be comforting if all the villains were merely villains. But this is just one villain turning on another. And then Destiny just feels like, well, I guess I'm wrong here. Piotr thought in the classic twist in the story of prophecy. He thought in the classic twist in all tales of strategy, tragedy. For your fears to lead to everything you fear, it is not a comforting thought. I do like this Colossus with the beard. It's a great look. And Kate, and then I'm gonna post 4 images on finally because we're doing back issues now. I'm gonna post 4 images on the blog's Twitter account and Instagram account, SNFWM, and spelt out. So then Kate's standing up, like, you can't do this, Pete. How far does this coop go? If I go, do you vote in my absence? We do, and we go only a little further. Kurt has left Aurora his proxy vote. I move that Kurt's proxies move to me until he returns or his replacement is chosen. I and then Shaw and Celine vote in the affirmative, and Kate's like, "You sold us out for an extra vote?" It's the cue, the moment of truth. The chronicler prepares his pen and writes Peter's tongue. Oh yeah, this is a great. I have sold no one out. I am only thinking of Coca-Cola. This council is corrupt. I became liaison to X-Force to prevent further abuses of their power. Do you think my anger is limited to them? As far as I know, he didn't really do much on X-Force either, but also, I'm not reading X-Force. I'm barely going to read this new X-Force coming out, but only because Rachel's in there and she's dating Betsy, and I'm pro Rachel dating whoever she wants, so, and pro Rachel appearing in things. So, X-Force I'll be reading. Iceland could be dead thanks to you, Destiny. Kate, you are now closer to Emma than to me. The good are gone, and only sinners remain. We are heavy of secrets. We should be better than that. I move that we release the full details of the Sinister timeline to the world. Which I can't imagine if you're a flat scan in the Marvel Universe, and you're like, hey, the X-Men have discovered that there's a future timeline where mutants rule the world, but also there's bad stuff. I'd be like, oh, another future X-Men world? Because you can't imagine like or I don't know, heck, the History Channel has like constant like mutant watches of like, look what the X-Men did this time. One time the Senator was killed and then it created a bad universe future where Sentinels take over. Well, guess what? I love that idea. If it takes one senator, let's all do this. I don't know. Sometimes I like to think about the day-to-day world of the Marvel Universe. Like, if you had a miniseries that took place in New Jersey, and it was just like the constant, like if it was like a Marvel timeline series of highlights, but from the New Jersey point of view, where it's just like, ugh, there's a giant um uh celestial that's in New York City. Like, good thing they're not looking over here just yet. I was going to say like a red dome around the city, but that was Utopia. But I'm pretty sure there's been, oh no, Uncanny 190 and 191 with Kulon Gaff and how um he had New York City under Conan Barbarian's like universe. And I'm pretty sure people in New Jersey were just making looks across the river, just like, oh, New York City's just doing a thing again. Or you see Galactus land and go like, oh, God, that's not us. Well, that's a bad example because if successful, Galactus is eating everybody. Peter shudders as his writer's smugness to propose a plan to hurt Coca-Cola that can be justified as doing the right thing. And Piotr hopes that someone will do the wrong thing. In the green room, Hope's tired of waiting. She wants everyone to peek in their minds to see what's going on. Exodus is like, he's beyond that. Like, he's lived nearly a millennia, which I do like Hope pointing out, like, yeah, but you were sleeping during most of that. And Emma and Xavier are just gonna let them play by the rules, and Hope's tired of it, so she uses either Xavier's or Emma's psychic powers, and then she immediately realizes that a coup's happening and runs off. When conducting the plan, Piotr was unsure. He didn't think it could work. They wouldn't have enough time to make the move. Something would interrupt. Shaw smirked while playing with his shot glass and said simply, "Oh, I've got a few things in place to prevent that." And we see, that's what I call it, Madam Sinister, but that's not it. Mother Righteous is at the ready. Rasputin the Fourth is prepared to fight Hope. Oh, and Rasputin the Fourth is all for fighting Hope as This version of Hope, Emma, Xavier, and Exodus are clearly Sinisters in the making. And Emma tweaks the rules a little, so she's going to read Hope's thoughts. So now council members, and now she's realizing something bad's happening. And Xavier tries to stop Emma, but he can't do that because he's the worst. And then Exodus is like, I'm still not getting involved. Gunfire and shouting, and Kate's like, there's fighting outside. Piotr recognizes it, and possible impacts against steel skin is the sound most familiar to him, which I like that because it's probably one of the few times he even talked to Rasputin the Fourth. And then Hope and Rasputin the Fourth fighting. Kate's like, this is something we can't spring on the council. We have to debate this one properly. It's complicated. Do the right thing, Kate. Be honest. It's not complicated. The clock ticks. Piotr fights to not call the vote. Araco. He realized the thing that the writer loves most, the thing that he can use to string this out for a few more seconds. Drama. And this is the part I don't get about this storyline, Colossus. Is that, so he's being overwritten, but if he concentrates real hard, he can maybe say a couple words that are loud, where it's like, well, then write a note. Like, do some SOS, like, finger tapping, and then someone will eventually be like, wait, well, what's this about? Like, I recognize SOS. And then Colossus says, Kitty would have understood. Do you? And then she just looks at him like he's an idiot. Piotr hopes that Kate will forgive him for the ugly words when the truth is revealed. And I think he's misguided, like, overestimating how much Kate thinks of him. And he hopes that hands will one day find their way around the writer's neck. And I don't know how the storyline revolves itself. But the delay has done its job. Stop! A storm comes in, and then I'm reminded that Wernick is going to be the artist for the Storm ongoing series and gave her a cool new redesign. But this one's great too. Exodus has brought Storm here, playing by the rules while saving the day. Piotr's mind collapses, falling backward. He is a creature of strength, and he thinks it's the heaviest weight he's ever lifted. He is exhausted. The writer's free to write whatever he wishes. What are you doing? You made me your proxy, and to do the right thing in your absence. I have been. I understand you may not see that immediately, but tensions are clearly high. And Hope's trying to still win, but Exodus is pulling her back. I move we break while we consider this. Calm down and return to debate it. My position is just. I am happy to convince you of that. Piotr thinks he's won. What the writer wanted is not come to pass. However, even in his relief, Piotr thinks back to Shaw's words and fears. Shaw said he had a few things in place. And then we get this touching scene of Destiny and Mystique, and Destiny's unsure of herself as she knows she can see short term visions, but nothing long term. And then all of a sudden she gets hit by this vision that Mystique's going to kill her. And Mystique's like, I'm not going to kill you, girl. Which is exactly how Mystique sounds like. I do love how they really emphasize their love here. Oh yeah, Destiny says, you would have burned this island for me, and I would keep a hell world living so you would breathe. And then you breathe your last. I will light this match and burn a universe for you. That is our love, nature of our love. What has changed? And then, of course, dramatic page turn. Mother Righteous recants some words. Mystique turns one of her arms into a sword and murders Destiny. And Mystique just freaks the heck out. Arbor Magna later. Destiny breaks out of her egg, and Mystique apologizes for killing Destiny. And Destiny's like, I don't know what's happening. And then Shaw, not missing a beat, comes in. Hope brought Destiny back. Hope is possibly compromised by Sinister, Jean, Muck, so everyone who she brings back is also possibly compromised. Now I do believe a precedent has been set for that. You get to sit and chat, but no votes for Irene. And Mystique immediately wants to kill Shaw, but she's just gonna let this happen. And so Kalash. Okay, so the voting. party is Colossus and Storm, Destiny by her table by herself, Mystique and Celine, and then Shaw and Kate. Colossus. 4 votes for, 3 votes against, 5 unable to vote. It is decided. The world would know the sins of Krakoa. So 3 against would have been Storm, Kate, and Destiny holding strong, I imagine? It is decided. Oh, no, no. Destiny can't vote. So Mystique then? And then Celine, Shaw, Colossus, and then he gets Nightcrawler as well. Yeah, that's the 4. It is decided. The world will know the sins of Krakoa. This is hard but necessary. It will make us stronger. Plus, I am not a fan of Sins of Sinister. Like, what a waste. I would recommend Immortal X-Men and then the opening and closing one-shots of Sins of Sinister, and that's all you need. And then Storm's like, Peter, why? Piotr wishes he could speak. My old friend, I am being controlled by a reality warper. It is not Sinister who left a hidden serpent here. Instead, he spouts justifications. You trusted me, Storm. I don't trust you. It was arrogant to assume that I would agree with you in all things. Ah, there, a chance. The writer may let it through. Piotr summons the... Oh, so maybe... So he's strong enough to maybe project a thought, and then the writer's like, I will let this happen. And so that's why he can't do SOS finger taps? Who knows? Piotr summons, I'm sure Kieran Gillen was like, what's happening with Colossus? I guess I'll do this. Piotr summons the last of his strength and tries, which I don't know what title that would have been in, X-Force? Like, it wasn't like there was a Colossus, like, starring title, except for X-Force, I guess. Piotr summons the last of his strength and tries with all his might, and succeeds. I am not your playing piece. Above all, the man who shapes Piotr's actions is a writer. He appreciates irony, a stylistic touch, and above all else, he doesn't think Aurora will notice. Piotr does. Trapped in the cell of his mind, he prays for deliverance. He wishes the world to see past his justifications and know the simple, awful truth. I am trapped in a Russian novel, and all the demons of Dostoevsky possesses me. I am tormented as Raskolnikov, and he escaped is just as impossible. But suspicious, I am not a holy fool like Prince Myshkin. Do not think me a simple, naive, idealistic idiot. You are my only hope. Storm. We'll live with what you've done today, Peter. I hope you're right. Piotr should have known better. And since no one cares about Colossus, and maybe that's a bigger issue of like, hey everyone, like Colossus isn't acting himself, but no one cares, and that's being reflected in the relaunch as Colossus is not on any of the main titles. And why would he be? He is trapped in a Russian novel. It is not a place for hope. Next, Deadlocked, issue 13. And this came out at the same time as Bishop War College 5, which was a fun miniseries. I really like the way it ends with Magic and Danny trying to be like, we need to save them, and then like, oh, they saved themselves. And X-Men 23, 2 issues away from the Hellfire Gala, so it's coming. And I'm just trying to look at all the other stuff that I would recommend reading, which is nothing. X-Men Before the Fall, Heroes of Apocalypse 1. Um, I think Kate is a reference in one of those Before the Fall titles, but that's about it. There's a Blade 1 comic coming out by Brian Hill, Elena Casagrande, with a parental advisory, so that's cool. And then back cover ad is for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, soundtrack available on vinyl and CD. And that, everyone, back to the plastic bag you go. What do you think is Mylon plastic? Alright, so let's see what comics came out last week. That's right. So we had two big titles last week: Rise of the Pirates of X5. I didn't lead with either of these because they didn't really feature Kate Pride or Magic or Sally Lockheed. And Rise of the Phoenix Powers of X. Speaking of Kieran Gillen, he concluded all the plots of Krakoa for the most part. Jean harnessing the Phoenix Force and thus harnessing all the hopes and dreams of all mutants everywhere. Destroys Nathaniel X's dominion, and we get some pretty cool images of oh yeah, and Silva was the artist, so of course it looks amazing. But we got see everyone with their Phoenix style uniforms, including Kate Pride, and that was pretty fun. If you follow me on Twitter, Jackal SII, I did a review of the issue. A lot of it just left me cold, ironically, mostly because of all the Dominion stuff. But it was cool to see Jean harness all the people. Like it made for gorgeous artwork, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, Phoenix destroyed the Dominion. Things are good. I did like some art choices. Like we see before all that, the Dominion is trying to outrun Jean. And so we get like a recap of all the Phoenix moments. And so we get if you squint, you can see the Phoenix 5 in the bottom left corner of the square, and there's Magic in there because she was part of the Phoenix 5. So that's pretty cool. Then there's a 3-page sequence of just everyone Phoenix E, including Namor and Kurt and no, I mean it's everybody. And then we get like a full page version of her, like of Jean, and then inside Jean's body, you see all the mutants, and I'm sure someone probably will try to expand and increase this, but it's pretty much just everyone doing T poses. And then the third image is where you see Kate Pride in her soon to be new exceptional X-Men uniform. And then Jean, that is, makes a fist. Wolverine claws come out of it and kills Nathaniel X's Dominion. And because Moira sacrificed herself to, because she was inside the Dominion, um, the Essex melted her, and she was granted her 11th life, which everyone's assuming is just a side universe reality. And be curious to see what she does there, and I'm sure we'll never follow up with it. But good for her that she's finally done. And with that, we don't have to bother Dominions ever again. So, and then what was the other comic that came out? Oh, yes. And then we got the X-Men, the wedding issue special, where Destiny and Mystique are going to renew their vows. Which is the present day stories. Well, I guess they're all present day, but the main focus story um, focuses on them renewing their vows, and it's pretty great. The only problem I really had was that the whole thing is a ruse to get Scarlet Witch to show up to the wedding, and she was invited by Nightcrawler, and because she's at the wedding, that left her Sanctum San Sorcerer's Sanctum. I feel like I'm missing a word there. But Wanda's special house is unattended, and so Mystique actually put like a life decoy model um, at the wedding, and Destiny's like, I can't marry her; she's a fake. And so then Wanda and the Avengers run off to stop Mystique, and that's gonna burn any trust she has or Wanda's trust in Kurt. And so we're just never gonna get Nocturne in this universe, and that's disappointing. But then Mystique gets back to and Kurt is the orchestrator of the wedding, and they do renew their vows, and it's fun. But there are some mini stories in this. Betsy and Rachel get a moment of where we see them go from other world to the wedding. On the last page of it, we see Rachel with Amazing Baby, her werewolf or her werewolf pet, and we see Kate is there hanging out with Kurt, and that's cute. And it turns out magic is seen in the Wolverine story, um, but it's a shame that we don't see Kate with a date for herself. And then Jean is hugging Logan from behind, which is curious. And then within that Logan story, we see Kurt's talking to a blonde, which I really hope is Amanda Sefton. And if you're going to return her, I say at this point, it's been years later. Let's just have her be back on Earth and no longer in the Hell Dimension, please. And then we get another story where Emma Frost is offering marriage counseling. Oh yeah, Logan's story has Onoi and Paris and Pixie, and Pixie's getting more comfortable with going through limbo, but she still resents magic, which makes perfect sense. Um, and then Logan buys a gun for Mystique as a wedding present, and it's like, all right. Oh yeah, and then Mr. Sinister got Destiny and Mystique off-panel present that they were really hoping for, and I don't know. It looked like Silver Surfer's bored, but I imagine it's not that. Oh yeah, and it turns out it wasn't even Emma Frost. It was really Loki pretending to be Emma, and she tells him not to do that again. And that seems like a weird foreshadowing, but I can't imagine we're getting a Loki story in Exceptional X-Men. But I guess we are. And then there's a Rogue and Gambit story where Gambit's doing something that I honestly had zero interest in. But it was nice to see Rogue and Destiny having a mother-daughter chat, so that was pleasant. Um, And yeah, and then there's some reprints in the back. But yeah, so that was the X-Men Pride issue essentially, the Marvel Voices Pride issue. So not too bad, but um um main story good. The Betsy Rachel story was good. Yeah, and then other parts had good pages within them. So let's see what comics are coming out this week. So we scroll on up. There's a What If Aliens out, who cares? Blood Hunters, who cares? Carnage. Oh, the Secret Wars, original Secret Wars reprints at issue 6. Oh, here we go. Miss Marvel Mutant Menace 4 comes out, and I believe that concludes the series. And it has Inhumans, Medusa, Karnak, and Lockjaw. So fun. Ultimates 1 comes out, which, I mean, I'd probably give it a read, but I don't care. What If Venom 5, which I don't even know why I read aloud, Wolverine Blood Hunt 1, and finally X-Men 35, or Uncanny X-Men 700, that has the Herculean task of ending the Krakoan era, as well as setting up the Fall from Ashes, or From the Ashes event. So, I know I'm getting the Scott Koblish cover, but I will also like to get the one cover that has Lockheed on it with a very tall Kate Pride, but it's not to scale, everyone. But oh yeah, the Pepe the Raz cover, which I know got some controversy, but it has a Lockheed cover. But also, I'm getting the Scott Koblish one in September, so the gatefold cover that has like this 50 years of X-Men all over it. There's gonna be that one, and the second cover is gonna be the uh, I guess the other half we haven't seen yet. Um, but one's Fall From or X-Men 35, Uncanny 700, and then the other one's gonna be Uncanny X-Men, and then the other two is gonna be X-Men adjectiveless, and then Exceptional, which I imagine at one point. Exceptional was not going to be delayed until September, but now it is, and so it's like, well, I guess that's what's happening. So that's disappointing, but I can't wait to get my four comics with those beautiful covers. And which I guess it must be gigantic because the one image we saw was wide, but I didn't think it was front cover, back cover, front cover, back cover wide. So once I get those, I'm gonna have to definitely take a picture of them. And then I'm gonna get a cool sketch. I'm hoping I requested Kate Pride, of course, with a little note being like, please give me Lockheed as well, please, if that possible. But everyone, that was Immortal X-Men 12, as well as reviews for. Well, you've already heard it. So if you will also follow me on YouTube at Jackal SII, Magneto's coming to Fortnite, and so I got myself and Walker D, which shout outs to Walker D for the instrumental music for the podcast. Appreciate it. He's also graduating fourth grade this week, so lots of happening at home. I feel like I transitioned away from where my original point was. Oh yeah, yeah. So Magneto's coming to Fortnite, which I imagine means we'll get a character added to the item shop, but I don't know. I've been wrong before. Um, so that's a good follow. You can follow him on YouTube as well. He's getting close to 90 subscribers on his YouTube channel, Walker D World. So if you like to watch some Lego video game playthroughs, that's the channel for you. And thank you everyone for listening. And please also friend to listen and subscribe as we're trying to get our numbers, to grow. And I will talk at you next time. All right, everyone. Bye.